Welcome back, YouTube. Today we're going to be doing the Icewind Pass on Veteran. We got 4 points into Archery and Barracks, 3 points into everything else. Here we go. Starting off, you have a level 2 Artillery Tower, level 1 Mage Tower, 2 level 1 Archer Towers, and a Barracks. We get introduced to a new Barrack Tower as well as a new Artillery Tower. The new Barrack Tower is the Barbarian, and those guys are the opposite of your paladins. They're squishy but deal a lot of damage. And the artillery level 4 is just bigger artillery. It looks like a bigger artillery, it acts like a bigger artillery. I call it Big Bertha. We are going to max out the scatter shot that it has because it's so good when there are a lot of small enemies. And on that bottom side, we're just going to get zerged down by spiders. So it'll be super helpful to have a artillery. I noticed there are 2 lanes that enemies can come from, but they all choke, and there's only one endpoint. So that makes it very nice to just stack your barracks and artillery, because they all have to come through one area. I tried to rush the level 4 artillery, but you don't want to. I think you want to get some archer towers and a mage tower out first. Otherwise, you're just going to get run by once these gargoyles start coming out. You can see at wave 5. So make sure you have at least a couple of archer towers and a mage tower. That's enough to kill off these gargoyles. The barracks and the level 3 artillery will hold off everything else, but you gotta be able to kill the gargoyles. That's like the one check the game gives you to say, okay, you can't just stack artillery and cheese out all the enemies. So slowly build your way to a level 4 artillery. These troll champions throw tomahawks at your guys, so I'm microing Geralt a little bit to move him up and force him to go into melee, and then when he gets low, I'm running him back to let him heal up a little bit. Right now I'm upgrading my archers. I got a level 3 archer tower, level 2 archer tower, and then a level 1 archer tower at the top. There's my phone. I'm going to ignore that. Clumping things up, I'm going to get a good rain of fire, killing off those dark knights and the archers. Now, lots of wolves here at wave 8. We're going to upgrade our barracks to level 3, and we're going to get another barracks. For this level, I choose to go with a barbarian and a paladin on the bottom. I just stack them together. Which one's better here? It depends. You could probably gone with both, like double barbarian. I wouldn't really recommend double paladins here, just because the barbarians will do more damage, and there are a lot of enemies, but not like a lot of super tanky enemies. So I think it's better just to kill off enemies quickly with the barbarians, as opposed to like stalling one enemy out forever. The eddies are really the only exception to that. They have a lot of HP, but thankfully no health regen or armor, so the archers can just chip them down over time. You can see archers here are doing work. All of the troll line, the troll chieftains we'll get introduced to, the troll champions, and the regular trolls can regenerate HP. But the Yetis cannot. Okay, doing a bit of microing here on Geralt, letting him take a few hits. And he's pretty tanky. Take a few hits from the Yeti, buying us a lot of time. And when he levels up, he gets all his HP back, so it's a very convenient level. Gonna get a nice rain of fire. Trying to get some of those gargoyles in the crossfire, but we didn't get too many. Thankfully, the mage tower, which we got to level 4, was picking them off. And there we go. Gargoyle is kind of scary there, because if they get past your last archer tower there, it's like panic build to build one more archer tower. We don't want to do that, and that will probably cost you a life. Obviously, these videos I get 20 lives, so if I were to get one more to get by, it would be a reset for me. Another nice rain of fire here. See all these dark knights start to stack up. I go for the archers instead, though, because they're more damaging. Yeah, there's the troll chieftains. More damaging to your barracks, and the paladins can stall for a very long time while the artillery towers do work. And here we get the barbarians. So barbarians and paladins stacked on top of each other. Two level 4 archer towers so far. I'm about to get a third one. And kind of the idea behind that is just to keep putting pressure on these trolls, not letting them restore their HP, and putting points into the poison arrows to kind of negate some of that health regen. I'm also trying to put reinforcements to isolate these troll chieftains so they can't buff their guys as much. If their guys get out of range, obviously they can't buff them. And they're very slow, so it's easy to kind of separate them with your reinforcements. We're putting upgrades into the barbarian axes so they can now throw their axes. And that is very helpful because having barracks act as like a mobile archer tower is pretty sweet. The only upgrade I would recommend for the mage is the teleportation, especially on that top side, because it's going to teleport the Yetis back, and it's going to buy you so much time. Now we're getting a third level 4 archer tower, and I also got a marksman tower, but I don't feel like the marksman was all that helpful here. Like, they have high damage, right? But I just feel like they're kind of situational tower, whereas the elven archers just deal fast, consistent damage, and you can use the roots to stall out if you want to go with that upgrade. Marksmen are kind of situational. They do have a one-hit KO ability, but a lot of times they'll hit an enemy that you don't really want to. Like, it doesn't really matter, you know? It's like a very squishy enemy anyway. So, probably a good rain of fire there. I feel like maybe it looked better than it was, but we're putting points into the scatter shot as well on the artillery, and that is doing so much damage to these spiders. You can see I really want to get those axes upgrades just to test out the barbarians. Alright, last two waves here. When it comes to choosing what upgrades to do, there's a lot of them. Teleportation on the mages is generally always good. Poison hours, poison arrows on the elven archers are very consistent. Barrack upgrades are kind of situational. I'm experimenting here more than anything. If you're not sure, I would recommend just building more barracks or more archer towers. You don't really have to go for all the upgrades because a lot of times the money that you spend is just not very efficiently used. Usually getting another level 4 tower is often better. Also, general rule of thumb, the central towers, the ones that are going to hit everything for the longest periods of time, are usually the ones that you want to max out the upgrades on. The ones on the peripheral are not as important. You can see just the bottom side is vomiting these spiders, which are getting obliterated by the artillery. And I built another artillery or another barbarian on the top side. And they're doing work, stalling out these yetis. You can also see the roots from the archer tower. Getting some nice stalling, and then teleportation from the mage tower. So that's really keeping them at bay while we deal with the spiders. And I think that's the key tip for this 18th wave. Otherwise, you might get overrun from all the matriarchs and little spider things. But one final rain of fire there as they all converge, doing insane amounts of damage. And I slow the game back down to normal speed, or video it back down to normal speed, and that is GG. 3 stars, 20 lives. Pretty easy level, I would say. You also get a new hero, Magnus Spellbane. I'm gonna stick with Geralt throughout the series, but if you are playing the Steam Edition, you have a new hero to play with. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.